Before we actually start, I would like to thank all my patrons. Without their support, this wouldn't be possible. They are the people that are helping me keeping in track with the things I do. So yeah, I'd like to thank so much for the support. If you want to join my patronage campaign, you can join me at patreon.com/pigdev. So I saw this video from Kyle. Let me change to the screen one. Yeah, this is the screen one. I saw the video from Kyle, this video right here. The link will be in the description. So so you can check this out. He speaks a lot about how you can even design the tile set, especially for borders. The main problem that he got is how you can set up like corners for isometric tile sets. Because the thing with tile sets is that instead of being straight like this, with isometric tiles, Tilemap, with isometric tiles, they are rotated by 44 degrees. This is the main difference. And once you know that, if you already know how to set up auto tiles, the things get even simpler. So if you don't know how to set up auto tiles, I have a post that I wrote on my Patreon. Let me change here. Yeah, I finally understand auto tiles. This post here goes in depth in how auto tiles work for top down or side scroll view. It explains basically everything about how you can set up auto tiles. But once you know how this works, and once you know how auto tiles work, it's not different from how it would work with isometric tiles. So I've set up this in Godot Engine, and it wasn't that hard. So without further ado, let's actually jump into the action, right? So yeah, I have this tile here, and as you can see, we have auto tiles. If I start to draw more tiles here, you can see the corners are already drawn. You can see that basically these ones we don't have because the tile set that I picked from Kenny, I even had to decrease the amount of tiles because some were not that useful, some wasn't even right. The offset between them was not consistent as well. So I created this one from one of Kenny's assets. I will share this with you when the live stream finished. And let me just check if yeah. So yeah, these are the tiles that we have available. But when you understand the logic behind the auto tiling, it's no difference. You will just have to apply the same logic with as many tiles as you have. So I will close this scene and let's start from scratch here. I will create another node 2D scene. We'll call it level, and I will add a tile map to it. And let me open this road tiles actually, showing file manager. Now you are seeing the file manager. Open with Inkscape. So if we grab the measure tool or the ruler tool, we can see that these tiles, they have a height of 65 and a length of 100. They also have an offset or a separation of 10 pixels between them, both on horizontal and vertical axis. So these are the things that we will have to keep in mind when we set up this tile set. The first thing that we will do is to change the tile set mode here, the tile set mode, this one, from square to isometric. And this is the most interesting part here. You have to notice that tile maps, they have an axis. Let me move this like just 100. You can see these orange lines here. These are the orientation of the tile map itself, of the cells of the tile map. So of the grid of the tile map. Yeah, grid would be the actual name. And this will state what are the rows and what are the rows, columns, and what are the lines of this grid, right? So if I will reset the position here. If we change this from square to isometric, you can see that now this is the orientation of the grid. It is rotated by 45 degrees. And now these are the rows, right? These are the rows, and these are the columns. This will be very important when we set up the auto tiling bitmask. Now I will change the cells. Remember, we have a size of 100 in the x-axis, and we have a height of 65. But you see that this is not the proper settings. When we have this kind of isometric tiles, we also have to offset them in order to have just the surface, this part right here, the top part of the tile set, tiling with the next tile set. We have to offset it by its by kind of like the height of the actual tile set, because we are trying to simulate a 3D tile I think that it's a 3D tile, and we have to understand that this is actually the depth of the tile, this is the length, and this is the height. And since we are using a 2D tile map, we have to offset the height of the tile in order to make them properly fit with each other. So instead of using a 65 for the height of the tile map, we will only use 50, because this is the actual tile that we are going to use. This part right here, the bottom part, will not be displayed unless there is no tile set fitting on its sides right here. So if we go back to our tile map, we will change the cell size from 65 to 50. And now we can start setting up our tile set. So road tiles, I will create a new tile set here. Drag the road tiles here, and you can see that it already took the settings that I have previously. So I will create a new tile set, a new auto tile actually. And the thing that we have to do, probably it will be the default is something like this on your tile map. You have to change this to fit the actual tiles here, because this is not the proper settings. So let's change this from 64 to 100. And since this is the actual tile set, we have to use the proper height from the tile set, because otherwise it will not take the proper separation, the proper tile. It will try to, if we use the same 50 setting here, it will overlap by 10 pixels the next tiles here. So when we are setting up the tile set itself, we are going to use the full height. But when we are using the tile map, in order to make them fit like this, fit on the side of each other, we have to set it only to use the top size, this top part right here, 100 by 50, instead of the full height of the tile. But when we are designing the tiles themselves, we have to use the full length, otherwise this part, the bottom part, will not be counted as part of the tile itself. So we are going to use 100 by 50. We have a separation of 10 pixels, right? And oh, actually here we have to choose a 65, yeah. So we have the proper separation here. And also we have to, I think that when the default is 32, this is the default for the sub tile size. But here we are also going to use 100 by 65 because this will actually take the proper size of our tile map. I will change the auto tile bitmask from 2 to 2 to 3 by 3. And what else? Oh, in the separation, the subtile spacing will change to 10 as well. Now we have everything set. Now here comes the interesting part. Let me just change the icon of this tile map to this one right here. And let's create an auto tile. Actually, we already created. This is the new auto tile. Let's create one that takes every tile here. Yeah, like this. And now we are going to set the bitmask, right? So if you read the post that I wrote about the auto tiles, the top down ones, the ones the square ones, I should say, you'll see that basically we have an internal grid on every tile, and this grid will tell what's the condition in which this tile will be used. So when we put a tile in the tile map, it will check for its surroundings, for all the 8 tiles that will surround this one. So it will check for this one, this one, this one, and all of these, in order to set what will be the one that will be on the center, right? Which is the one that we are currently drawing. So knowing that, we already know what we should do with these auto tiles. The only thing that we have to keep in mind is that when we are talking about isometric auto tiles, this grid here, is not rotated as the tile is. So we'll have to rotate it like mentally, but the logic is the same. So for instance, these 2 tiles should be used when they are alone, right? Because this one doesn't have anything to tile with. But for instance, let's check how will this 4 here would work. So we have the one on the center. And going back to the tile map, let's just remember that. So remember how this grid is, right? So these are the rows of the grid. These are the rows, and these are the columns, right? So knowing that, going back to our tile set, we'll have to draw them taking this rotation offset in account. So for instance, we have this one that will be alone. But now with these, we have to think about them as such. We have one in the center, and we want to use this one, this tile, when there is one tile on its left, right? So we have because if we draw a line here, if we draw a line that will represent the row that this tile set will be used, this line will pass through right here, and we want to use it when there is a tile on its left, on the same row but on the left. So to make this, we'll draw it. Most tile sets will have to use the center one because it will represent that this one is being taken in account. So this is the condition that should met. It will have one in the center and one in the left. For this one, we'll have one in the center, one in the right. Remember, this is the direction of the row. So we'll have one in the center, one in the right. Now this one will have one in the center and one in the top. Right, like this. Because this is the first row, and then there is another row that passes through here, and we want this one to be used when there is a tile on this row that is on top, above the row that this tile is being used. So this is the bitmask condition for this tile. And the same goes with this one, but this one will be used when there is a tile on the bottom. Row. Now for this two we have something a bit different, because this one will take everything that goes in the same line, the same row, so something like this, and this one will take everything going from the same column, so something like this. Now with these tiles already set, we can try to draw them, and you see that it will already work. So if we draw something across like this, you can see we don't have a tile to override this one because we didn't draw this condition yet. But yeah, for all the other ones, it is already working. Now let's try to make everything work. All the tiles here work. Going back to the tile, we'll click to draw the bitmask. This one will be used when there is one tile on its bottom. In other words, on the row below it. One in center, which is this one on its right, and one on its left. On its right and on its left. And the same goes with this one, but this one will have one on its top, one on its bottom, and one on its right. Same goes with this, but on the left, top, bottom. This one will have one on each direction. This one will be used when everything on its surroundings have tiles. Let me see. Now let's go. This one will have one when it is on the top, left, and right. Now for the corners is kind of simple as well. We have one on the center. We don't have anything on its right. We don't have anything on its left, but we have something on. Actually, we have something on the right. We don't have anything on the. We would have something on the top, and this is the condition for this tile to be used. As for this one, we have one on the center, which is this one on the bottom, and one on the right. For this one, we'll have something on the left and on the top. For this one, we'll have something on the bottom and on the left. This is the condition for this one. So if we try to draw this, we have one that will take everything. You can see. Now we have the corner here. We also have the corner there, and one corner here. We have this corner there, and seems like all the corners are working. You can see that when a condition is not met, the tile set will fall back to its icon, which we can set using this icon option here. So the icon for this tile set is this one right here. Going back to the bitmask, let's just finish the other tiles here. So we have one that will have something on the left, two tiles on the top. It will have itself two tiles on the left or on the right, and two tiles on the bottom as well. So this is the condition for this one. This one will have one in the left, or one in the right, and two in the top, two in the middle, two in the bottom, on the bottom left and the bottom center. For this one, it's the same thing. We'll have 2 on the left and top left, 1 on the top center, 1 on the bottom, and 1 on the right and top right. And this one will have it itself, 1 in the top, 1 in the bottom left, bottom right, right, and bottom center. This is the condition for this one. Now this one will have on the center, let's see, it won't have on the left, not on the left bottom. It will have on the bottom center, on the bottom left, on the center left as well. Now this one will have itself, 1 on the top center, 1 on the left, top left, and 1 on the center left, something like this. Now this one will have itself, 1 on the top right, 2 on the top right, and 2 on the left, like this. Now this one will have something on the center, on the bottom center, on the center left, on the center, no. I think that this is not correct. I think that, no, yeah, it was correct. It's like this. Now this one won't have anything on the top, but it will have, be used when there is something on the bottom. This one, when there is something on the bottom, center, top, like this, and all the right space will be filled as well. Now this one is the opposite of this one, so when the left side is filled, and this one when the top is filled as well. I think that these are the conditions for these tiles. Now let's test this out. Let's try to make this here, this, and you can see that this is already working. Let's try to expand this. Yeah, let's try to make a cross like this. Let me change this. So seems like everything is working already. You can see that there are some conditions that are not met, but since the tile set that we are using doesn't have these the tiles that would fit this condition, there's nothing there's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, apart from that, everything seems to be working like it should. So yeah, the only thing that the only thing that you have to keep in mind when you are setting isometric auto tiles is that you will have a rotated grid, as I explained in the start of the video. The grid of the tile map will be rotated by 44 degrees, by 45 degrees. And you have to keep that in mind when you are drawing the bitmask, because the bitmask itself wouldn't be rotated by 44 degrees. You have to rotate it like mentally, let's say this way. So yeah. Alright, so I will finish the stream now. Thank you so much for those who come to participate. It was meant to be a very quick live stream. So thank you so much for watching. Keep developing, and until the next time.